Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to see you, Mr. Lee. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good, good, thank you.
Great honor to be invited.
Thank you. Well, you are a great businessman, entrepreneur. You've been interested in very, very various industries like finance, technology, media, and telecommunications. Since the 90s, you started with telecommunications, and in 2003, with the launch of Now TV, well, you have such a wide reach. I would like to start our first question. With operations with over 50 markets, how do you make sure that you personalize and adapt with your employees, but also with your customers?
First of all, I just realized how old I am. I think me and my colleagues, we really believed in local execution. So out of even in the same time zone in 10 of the 50 markets, we really believe in empowering the country manager to make day-to-day decisions, as long as those decisions are within plans, within the parameters, and within what has jointly been agreed. And the experience is that that would enable much better localization in terms of customer needs. But that does not mean that we don't have governance, we don't have check and balance. We do have shared experiences with their colleagues, other country managers. We do have shared resources, and often even shared bad experiences to share with. So that's our philosophy.
That's amazing. And we have so many young entrepreneurs here and founders that would like to know, what are your main pointers for success?
Well, I don't know whether I have success. I think I have experience in both good and bad times. I do believe in that good people always manage to gather themselves among good people. So I think first and foremost, it is talent, but also straightforward, honest, hardworking people who are like-minded. So I think that's the first and foremost. And then, of course, start out with a good business plan and a good concept, verify it before starting, have enough capital and buffer, and then cross-check. After the startup started for a period of time, can cross-check whether those milestones and direction is indeed what was originally envisaged.
And you just mentioned that you have a lot of pointers for success, but also some challenges. Would you mind to share some of those challenges with the entrepreneurs?
Of course. A lot of times, of course, it's more of an art rather than a science, and it's actually a little bit of both. And often, when there is a certain goods and services that one spotted with a vacuum, and when that product or service is being launched, it can easily also be superseded, or other competitors foresaw it at the same time. So at the same time, if one were to see that it is a venture without the light at the end of the tunnel, also at times it is also important to also cut the rope and go on plan B or C.
I love that you mentioned it is an art. And what do you think would be the growth opportunities within this region for the next few years?
I find it very inspiring last evening at a dinner time that an executive was saying that over the past 30 years, what China has exported to the Western world is in fact deflationary pressure, helping them not having high inflation, which is emerging today. What I believe that China has exported to Southeast Asia is equally important. I believe that China has demonstrated that in an emerging market, one, do not necessarily have to go through A, B, C, D, and E in all the steps that has taken many developing countries over 30, 40 years. A lot of things can happen at the same time. And so I think what we've seen in the region, especially countries with young demographics, is that they are following the footsteps of China 20, 25 years ago, and it's at this moment flourishing. And I think we are going to see, aside from little ripples here and there, tremendous amount of growth opportunities like what we had seen in China since 1978.
And you were talking about the region here, but as you have also operation in 50 markets, what about all of other markets? Is the growth similar?
I think each region have their opportunities and challenges, but I have to say that out of all these markets, I do find the Asia Pacific the most exciting and promising one, and we will put maximum emphasis on this time zone.
Perfect. And a lot of our attendees here are looking to connect with new industries, technology, and also traditional sectors. What would be your thoughts around creating the long-term partnerships?
I think that's an extremely important question and a very good question indeed. I think that leveraging across industries, leveraging strengths and weaknesses of partners is very important. I would say that it's very, very important that right at the outset, one would really understand what is the strength of the partners on the other side, what they can do, what they cannot do, set out in very detailed parameter KPIs and expectations, and then also cross-check and verify. But the partnership should never be just at one level. Right before coming on stage, I was bringing our insurance CEO. Today, in fact, we have a conference in Seoul among our partners, and it's 120 people. So it's very important that when it's key partnership, that it would be multiple layer meetings of minds, and that those concepts and plans and verification would not sit at just one level, and usually those levels are only at the top and the implementation level. That is just not enough. It would have to be multiple layer and cross-check, and cross-check. And of course, at the very end of the day, it is personal relationship. So that also must include people of high EQ to get those partnerships working well.
Well, I'm sure you have very strong personal relationships, but when one is starting, how can we develop these personal relationships and make sure that the network is the one that we need for our venture?
I think at the very end of the day, you would probably need to grow with your partner, and the partnership needs to see that you can add value to the other side, and that it is not a one-sided relationship. So I think that's very important. So on the outset, you know what you want from them. They know what they want from you, and right on the outset, be very honest about what you can do and what you can't do, and set those KPIs clearly.
Where do we find these partners? Do we find them at an event like this or somewhere else?
I think some of them, but what I find the most important is detailed research. So a very detailed research in what your partner can deliver, but also recognizing what you can deliver for your partner. And be honest to yourself and be honest to your partner, because what would waste time and effort and resources the most is only to find those partnerships, in fact, never fit in the first place, and it's based on moving sands. And that would be a waste of time and resources for all parties involved.
when it comes to entrepreneurship, and we were also talking about mentorship for the title of this session, is this connected? Do we have to find mentors? Is it advisable to get a mentor or various mentors in our entrepreneurship journey?
I was very lucky that I did have older mentors in different industries. Some of them are partners, some of them are just purely friends, some of them are customers. I do find it handy, and I also have mentees who eventually become extremely constructive staff and team members. So I think that can change very quickly. The relationship between a mentor and mentee can quickly change to become a contributor and a recipient of good ideas. So I don't think the mentorship is as hard and fast as what it meant in the old days.
Okay. When we're talking about, you have touched so many industries: finance, technology, telecommunications, and media. And in previous panels, some of the other speakers have said that when someone starts a venture as an entrepreneur, we should just jump and be open and adaptable for change. In your case, would you mind sharing some experience on how were you able to balance being good at so many industries at a time?
I don't know whether we're very good in so many industries. I think there are some industries which are more resilient to technological changes, and that a well-managed manager would be able to continue the evolution as it goes, and those industries are more stable and less challenging. There are other ones, in fact, similar to the topic today, FinTech, which are on the knife edge. One can do extremely well in a very short period of time, but at the same time, when an onslaught of a new player come on board, you can lose your market share very, very quickly as well. So I think there are different natures of it, and sometimes those industry on the knife edge cuts both ways.
Do you mind sharing a little bit more about Pacific Century Group and your work these days?
I think in our work these days, telecommunication and media is very much in the hands of very good colleagues of mine who I've worked with for over 20 years. And we do meet for strategic meetings and so on. But at the same time, in other business such as insurance, I have extremely talented colleagues that work around the clock with me. But since it is a very nascent and fast-growing industry in nascent markets in Southeast Asia, with good and strong peer as competitor, we need to be all hands on deck. And then there are also many established players who also continue to try to innovate. So that I find it to be a very challenging and awakening and humbling experience.
With the fast pace of innovation and technology, if you were to look back at your journey, what would be an advice that you would give to your own self if one of the mentees or young professionals will come and talk to you?
Be broad-minded with talents. Spend more time with them, and keep an open mind. I think that would be my advice for myself.
I'm sure you're still doing that.
I'm trying.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience that you want them to really feel, this is what I should think about in my entrepreneurship journey, if you're starting or you are already having a couple of years in this journey?
I think that globally right now we do see some headwinds, geopolitical and macroeconomic environment. That's a fact. But at the same time, we are next to a region with amazing demographics and rising middle class. So I think this year or two would be a tremendous amount of crossroad and opportunities for people to think about whether having a startup is a good time. And but capital raising is not going to be nearly as easy as in the past decade, obviously, as you all well know.
Well, that's a great point that you just mentioned about capital. Where do we find this capital if we're just starting? We find that it's quite difficult to go and pitch to all of these events, and perhaps we are not facing the right investors. Where would you advise them to find this capital?
I think that obviously in the past decade, finding venture capital with an interest rate nearly zero and opportunity cost in a much better environment. Obviously, today, the good venture capitalists are still around. They would examine the plans very carefully. Obviously, it has to be well constructed. But the shift, obviously, in this past 18, 24 months, is the favor is on the capital side. And so to raise capital, one would need to have all the dots crossed. But I still do believe those venture capitalists are still there. We are also continuing and looking for opportunities to invest. But obviously, we are also more choosy today.
Thank you. I'm just going to follow one of our fellow moderators' lead, Henry Arslanian, and I would like to ask you very, very short questions, and you can give me short answers.
Sure.
What would be the one book for entrepreneurs to read?
One book for entrepreneur to read. That's interesting. I can't think of one absolute book that I would actually read the history of what Mr. Robert Kwok wrote, and that was one of the most inspiring books I've read in recent years.
One event or a couple of events they should attend this year or next year?
FinTech Hong Kong.
There we go. And one person they should follow or look at their videos or follow on Instagram or social media?
I think there's so many successful entrepreneurs nowadays, and I'm sure people who attend this conference will see it for themselves. There's so many, so many.
And which would be the person that you would like to have a conversation with at the moment?
I'm having a conversation with you, and I'm enjoying myself.
That's very kind. Thank you very much. Well, we are running out of time, so I would like to open again, Mr. Lee, our warm welcome, and thank you for attending FinTech Week 2022 and being part of this conversation with me. We hope to see you again very, very soon.
It's a great honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.